Good evening, all. FIE's Junkanoo Rush. This is V. Charmaine Roll live. Tonight is all about the bankers. It's all about the bankers, folks. We're gonna give you an update of what's gonna happen this week. We started out 10 days of independence. Leading up from a few days ago, we started the countdown. We're gonna have a Junkanoo parade that is to be held uh, on Friday, beginning at 10 on Facebook, and then we're gonna be coming live from the NSA Stadium at 5 p.m. for a live show with all of the unified dancers. Tomorrow night, I will be on Beyond the Headlines with Mr. Clint Watson to give more of an update on what we have been doing from the lockdown, including everything along with the unified dancers. So tonight, folks, let me just say it's all about the bankers. Go ahead, introduce yourself for me, please, beginning with Mr. Carrington Johnson. Unmute your mic, Jen.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Charmaine. The name is Carrington Johnson. I'm a member of the mighty Shell Saxon Superstar, and I'm a manager at Commonwealth Bank Golden Gates branch. Good to see you, Trey. And hey, Fred, my good friends.
Go ahead, Trey.
All right, good evening. My name is Trevino Russell, otherwise known as Trey. I'm the current treasurer for Genesis Junkanoo organization, one of the founding members. My disclaimer, I'm no longer in banking. I've been in the hotel industry for a little while, but I am in finance also.
Okay, go ahead, Fred.
Good evening, all. My name is Frederick Callender. I am currently serving as the Vice Chairman of Finance for the One Family Junkanoo Group and Community Organization. I'm currently employed at Commonwealth Bank, Cable Beach branch as the Senior Assistant Manager, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Fred, I just been in the bank, but I even see you. You hiding there.
There is a lot of work to do.
I know, right? I just been in there and I've been right to the corner to the right where Angela used to be. That's where your office is.
No, I'm on
Oh,
the
you on the
other
opposite side.
Yeah, you're on the wrong side.
Okay. Well, now that I know you there, welcome everybody and happy independence again. Tonight is all about banking. So, folks, after this long COVID lockdown we had, I invited the bankers to tell the junkanooers, how do we move forward from here in terms of saving our monies and what should we expect? Let's start with Carrington.
Good evening again. First and foremost, with this COVID-19, it's a situation where nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. So for me personally, man, this is only my opinion, I would suggest that we limit our spending on non-essential things. What happens is right now, it's a lot of folks, because they have access to funds, they're just spending foolishly. They're not planning. And so the most important thing is to plan your future as to know where you're going. When I say essential things in terms of mortgage, property, education, and health, those are the most important things at this point in time. So the frivolous things that persons are spending money on right now, I just advise them that they need to monitor and manage their affairs much, much better. And planning is very important. Planning and budgeting.
Wow. There you have it. Go ahead, Fred.
Well, I see. I had to yield to the mighty Saxons saying that they're the champions of both of it. So I'll take
Speak
my
a little
second.
louder for us, Fred.
I said I had to yield to Carrington saying that the Saxons are the champions. I will yield. And Carrington, I feel that the COVID has changed the world, including the Bahamas. A year ago, if you wore a mask and to Commonwealth Bank, we'd have called the police for you. Now, if you wear a mask, if you don't wear one, we'll call the police for you. There's a new norm that we have to look at. The way we do business and the way we look at life has changed a lot just in the last 6 months. So with that said, I think that Bahamians have an opportunity. A lot of Bahamians are currently displaced, but for the last 3 months, a lot of Bahamians still had an income coming in up until the end of June before the hotels did a lot of the layoffs. I think that in this time, the persons that were earning a salary had a good opportunity to put some of their funds up. Why? The banks had we deferred all loan payments. All the banks agreed to defer mortgage payments. So families, although loss of income was there, you had your mortgage payment or your loan payment deferred. You had your BPR bill deferred. You had the government urging landlords to be more lenient, accepting 60% of the rent. So there were has been opportunities for us as Bahamians to put some monies aside because the road is going to get a little tougher.
Mm.
We look at the climate in the United States today, and everything is based on that. When I heard the Minister of Tourism said that 80%, 82% of our tourists come from the United States, and we see what is going on currently there. So I would urge persons, you have to restrict the spending, but the government has helped us with that. We had a lockdown for 3 months. We couldn't go anywhere. So all those extra spending, you're going for the county salad or going for dinner, that changed. So you had the opportunity to pocket that money. You had opportunities to catch up on some stuff. Now, there are a lot of payments that were displaced on NID, uh, and they are hurting. So what I would say is, as we brace for the long road ahead, we have to continue to watch our spending. We have to continue to minimize our wants versus our needs.
Mm.
And and every family, I advise them to put a list out, get together, look at what is essential for you, and itemize based on priority what you need to do. So put a short-term budget in place that will help you manage through the tough time.
Right. Oh, Paparazzi is here now. I was calling him early. He didn't answer. So, welcome, Paparazzi, my co-host, Papa. Okay, Trey, tell us a little bit what we should expect.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I'm in the hotel industry, so I'm affected by that every day. I don't see things recovering for some time now. Like Fred alluded to earlier, most of our guests, or like 80% of our guests, do come from the U.S. And with that avenue right there in Florida, and Florida right now is a hotspot. So it's I think it's going to be some time before our industry recover. However, like both Carrington and Fred alluded to, we need to monitor our spending. That's the first thing. So this is that time when Mama used to say, "Save some for a rainy day." This is that rainy day. So you should have been. I always advocate, or I always advise, staff members, whatever else. Let's make sure you're saving, because I think a report came out several years ago, and they said that 67% of Bahamians don't even have $1,000 in the bank. So imagine if you don't have $1,000 in the bank, how are you living right now? This is that time when we really need to be saving, when we should have been saving, or whatever you have now, you because the rainy day is going to come again. Let's I listened to a report the other day, and I think it was President Obama during his tenure. He said, "Oh, in 5 years," and I think people have been circulating this video. In 5 years, when the next wave comes, what are we going to do? Guess what? This is that 5 years now. In 2020, the next wave. So with that thinking, in the next 5 years, let's start preparing for that next wave, because it's inevitable. Something else is going to happen again. Sad to say, we would hope not, but these things is recurring. We had Ebola, we had all these other stuff, and now we're here with COVID. So I think moving forward now, what we really need to do is make sure you're saving. So that people that tithing thing with 10%, make sure you always pay yourself 10% first. So that's one of the things I practice. I try to at least save at least 15 to 20% of my salary weekly. Everybody can't do it, but that's one of the things that I try to prepare for a rainy day. And so, I mean, that's a little nugget or something that somebody else can pick up. I hope somebody else can pick up from this whole conversation.
Right, understood. So, let me speak to this now. Junkanoo persons normally go in ASUS and different stuff to get themselves prepared for these parades. But a lot of people ain't working right now. Sure, you laughing? Like dead serious.
I'm not an
So
advocate. I'm not an advocate for ASU, so that's why I laugh when people say ASU. And with two bankers here, that's like ASU. When the bank, you know, you get no interest from there, and the bank. I mean, the bank don't give really no interest either. They 1%, whatever. But but I would trust.
We ain't that bad. We give you
I would.
some percentage, not just 1%.
I would more trust. I would more trust. And I mean, you know, whatever works for you. But like I say, things that it doesn't work. I've never seen it for me. So whatever works for you, if that's what you do, yeah, ASU, and you know, and your people are trusting. I've seen some situations where people, you know, they put in, and then they can't find the ASU holder. You
right,
know,
right. Well,
you
I
can't.
think it's changed tremendously over the years in turn. Because let me tell you, I used to have big ASUs at my work. And let me tell you, Commonwealth Bank and Royal Bank is be calling me for the fellas there. Now, Charmaine Roll, you responsible for paying this bill for this person. Give me the date they get in the drawer. I had to sign on the line. That was back in the day, Fred. You know what I'm saying? That's back in the day.
Well,
That's about 10, 15 years ago. They had to call
as
me, hey,
bankers,
you
as
want me to
bankers, we
be a
don't.
to Charmaine? So and so say they getting their money from you. So me need the
Yeah.
number. I had to be signing for people.
Well, as bankers, we
Carlton, you
don't encourage
laughing?
them. But ASUs are a part of the Bahamian culture, and that's something we all grew up in from Grammy to Mummy, and so it's a part of the Bahamian culture. So we don't encourage it as bankers, but
You know,
we can go for this culture. That's a part of us.
Well, see,
ASU
Freddie,
has
you
its
too
place
much
in
that
our
you
culture.
want people can borrow money. Hey, Fred, you can't speak too much of that because you want people can borrow money, but much people right now can't really borrow money. That's the thing.
But
And they selling cars and stuff. Some of these people only got $65 left of their salary for the whole month, and they still
Charmaine,
going for loan.
the reality is, with the tourist economy affected, it affects almost every Bahamian, unfortunately. That is our number one industry. Even it affects us as
Mhm.
bankers
Yeah.
because a lot of our loan portfolio comes from the hotel industry, which is
Mhm.
now basically shut down. So even the chance to earn, to put additional loans on our books, earning the interest income, that's our profit margin, that is
right.
reduced significantly. So the reality is this pandemic, yeah, we might be going to work in the bank today, but eventually, if we don't get our number one economy, our engine running again, we the economy of the Bahamas will be in serious dire straits because we need the tourist dollar at this particular time until we have moved away from that as the engine. That is the gasoline. That is the kerosene that fuels our economy, unfortunately, and it is now being affected in the most adverse way that we could have ever imagined in our lifetime.
Wow.
Right, right.
Papa, you have a question?
No, I'm good for now. Thanks. Just listening.
Hey, paparazzi.
Hey,
Papa,
what's
go ahead.
happening? Good night. Good evening to all.
Good evening, man.
Just to piggyback of what Fred said, Charmaine, that's why it's very important for persons to identify their affairs because there's no where this is going to lead. And yes, tourism being our number one industry, but right now the funds are not going to be coming in as fast as it used to. So therefore, it's imperative that persons manage their affairs properly. And you have to save. I mean, you can't be like the normal days where you just go and spend, taking a little funds to go to Miami. But you even can't travel to Miami now. So I guess now persons will now get to experience the Funny Islands, which is much better for us.
Yes,
Amen.
yes.
So we keep
But hold
it
on now,
in the
Carlton.
loop.
Plenty people using their online ordering now.
You're right. You're right. That's
You're
true. A
right
lot of
about
people are.
that.
Plenty people using the online ordering, so they still shopping.
I mean, that is one good thing that has come out of the COVID. We are forced Bahamians. We are people that like to go. I want touch. I want ride. We like paper. it has forced us as a country to move away from the paper. And it has forced a lot of Bahamians to now start shopping online and doing things differently. You know, we tend to say, oh, I won't go Miami. But when you take a look at the plane ticket, the hotel, and the
Hmm.
car versus the goods
Exactly.
that you buy, you really ain't winning. You're not winning. So if we now eliminate the ticket cost, eliminate the hotel and the car, and just order online, maybe you pay Mr. Shepard and customs some money, you might still be in. So it's changed us, and there is some good that's coming out of it that we're learning as a country to be more savvy, social media savvy, techno savvy, because it's forcing us to do things that we're not used to. So,
Yeah.
and that's
E-commerce has definitely improving the country, and that's where we need to be going. You know, gone are the days like you said, Fred. You have to jump on a plane. You just go online, blah, 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 send my stuff,
yep,
and I got it. You know, and that's where we need. That's where the world is moving to. E-commerce. You
yep,
know,
it
you
is.
can't that brick and mortar store and all that stuff is being played out right now.
Yep.
Well,
So,
I could speak to that online, Fred, because my account was hacked. And see, that's another thing with the online. My account was hacked. I got a bill, and I encourage everybody who have the online to log in their accounts every day, sometimes twice a day, just to be logging in. Because about 2 Sundays ago, um, my account was hacked to say I buy and buy parts on a Sunday. So I dead serious. I say I must use a motorbike girlie. A couple
so
$100.
You
And
was getting
I
ready for. You was going to Gambay. You was going to
boy,
Gambay.
I must be going down there. I say, what the
That's
hell?
the Sunday night. That's the Sunday night
Bike.
ride.
Yeah,
Boy,
bike back
yeah,
crew.
so now I shock. I say, what bike component? Man, I call
well,
Commonwealth Bank. I say, look here. I call them first thing that Monday morning. And I say,
well,
ain't that kind of party. But the young fellow who answered me, he tried to mug me. I say, boy, look here. I said, work for Commonwealth Bank. I said, I might be physically in the branch like you, but Commonwealth Bank, Carrington, I worked for Commonwealth Bank for 30 something years. But
Yep.
all the loan officers had my number on speed dial.
And
amen.
and still do.
Still do. Because people still asking me what bank to go to.
Yep,
Oh,
amen.
who do I recommend? Y'all know you have to be fighting for me to make sure I send y'all doing so y'all gonna meet your target date now.
But since I was the first to introduce myself, make sure I send him to me first before you send him to Fred.
Get him, CJ. And that's
Shaman,
Hey,
and that's Townsend and Moore. That's Townsend and Moore. Make sure you.
no. He said you the Golden Gate say. You the Golden Gate say, CJ.
no,
No,
I
no,
think
I'm a
Shaman,
town center more
Oh, you
now.
town center.
Yeah.
Understand? So I tell a young man, I say, listen, and he couldn't remember my name, first of all. He called me, and then he said, what's your name again? I say, now, hold on, sweet boy. Now, I say, hold on. I say, now, you talking to the wrong person, because, buddy, I's a banking woman. I say,
Shaman,
now, I need to talk to somebody over you.
Shaman,
Huh?
you should turn those car loans around the fastest.
Yeah, man. Fred was my boy, man. That was my hookup, Oakfield, boy. What? That was my hookup in Oakfield now. I used to call
Yeah,
him, I
so
say, Fred, when I send you people, the insurance then paid for, insurance
that,
quote there, everything that Fred used to do the interview on the phone. So when the people reach in the bank, they sign in.
that's
Carrington, that's
it.
how Fred go, boy.
Yep, that's where it used to go. And
Fred used to
So,
tell me, Charmaine, just stand up, they come in to sign for their check.
Fred, you had telebanking before telebanking was established.
it was about understanding the competition and being the
Yes,
first.
about understanding the competition. And
Understanding the competition.
I had a conversation with a banker this morning. She and I walk these exercises in the mornings together, and she was from World Bank. And we talk about the good years we used to have in banking and how easy it used to be. And she said, boy, Commonwealth Bank used to beat us bad. I say, sweet girl, you all used to be running. She say, Commonwealth Bank was the bottom of the pile first, she say. Then all of a sudden say, man, we had to be trying to catch them up. I say, because they regroup.
Yeah,
And
Commonwealth.
they regroup, they change how they did things, and they become more customer friendly.
Yep.
They became more customer
Hey,
friendly, and they
yeah,
met your
Well,
needs. Go ahead, Carrington.
yeah, we are not we were. We are the bank for the people,
Oh,
and that's why
sorry,
we make
sorry,
it
I
customer
said
friendly.
word. My apologies.
But one of the things I would say, Charmaine, I think nowadays we need more bankers, not lenders. And that would help also to educate our clientele as to how to manage their affairs. What happened nowadays, the culture has changed slightly, where we have what I call lenders, persons who just working in the bank just to meet quota, just to
Right.
lend monies and not help to do what's best for the client themselves. And so I think we need to transition back to what we used to be, to have clients.
Yes, very, very much so. We have to come back becoming more customer friendly. Go ahead, Fred.
I must say, I must drop a little disclaimer here too. I am a former Commonwealth banker also. I worked at Oakfield sometime with CJ some time ago.
Yeah. Well, I must agree with Carrington in terms of the competition has driven the quality down in terms of service in some regards because a lot more people are in the lending business, and we are. And the unfortunate part about it is, um, the a lot of persons bankers operate under the Client Banks Association, and we are guided by central bank. In today's Bahamas, we have a lot of unregulated lenders who can just lend monies, in some cases up to 40, 50, $70,000 to Bahamians with with no stipulations in place. While the banks, we are guided by what is called debt service ratio, meaning that we have to make sure that customer take a certain percentage of their monies home for their families. The
Right.
unregulated lenders are not guided by that. If they
Mhm.
can get a salary reduction, they will get a loan. And if that means that person, after of gone through that money, goes home with $100 for the rest of the month, that unregulated lender is not concerned about that because they just want their money coming in. And that is what has happened. We have, and then now with the brokers coming into the banking, you have customers, some customers, you see them, they borrow from between banks, credit unions, and private lenders up to, in some cases, up to times during the course of 1 year, which is
Wow.
not good because at the end of the day, they taking home nothing for their families and they have debt all over the place. And to the point where in some cases they may have to leave their job just to take home a salary because their salary with the government or wherever they were working was maxed out. So the competition in a way is there, but it has hurt a lot of Bahamians in a lot of ways because, like Carrington said, we have to be financial advisors. I've advised customers for years, and I would say, don't come back. If you need it, come. But when you come, let's try to start saving. And you educate them about saving. Tell them get a savings plan. Let's put some money towards getting you a property. Customers do appreciate it. I have customers who come to me years later and say, Mr. Calendar, you gave me my first loan, and you encouraged me to save, and I'm now out of debt because of you. They will remember.
Hmm.
Sometimes you don't even remember the customers, but they remember you because of the
Yeah, of
advice you
course.
gave. So
Yeah.
the character's point, that is a very good point, that you have to be bankers, financial advisors, and not just lenders trying to put loans on the books for profit. We have to also, if I cater to the person as a whole, they will send their children after them
Right.
because
You're right.
You
You're
you
right.
build up a rapport. You build up a
yeah.
rapport. Yeah.
So that is where we need to strive to be. And Candy is absolutely correct.
So I think the term is service banks, so they need to go back into being service banks and not just lenders. I
Yeah.
compare the banks nowadays to like gas stations. One time ago, you could get oil and all this stuff. Now gas station is a food store. So you go
Yeah.
inside a gas station now, you can't get stuff for your car no more. You
No.
know, you
And
go
people,
inside. The guy used to lift your hood, and they
Yeah.
would
Take
assist
the
you.
oil.
Now
no,
you don't
you
get
have
it
to
at the
open
gas
oil
station
No, there's
anymore.
actually want anything from inside.
from
Right.
inside.
And
Yeah.
and they're not talking about oil or transmission fluid or brake
No, they
fluid or
talk about
whatever. They
food
want
or
Gatorade or water, or
right.
you want one hot dog sandwich or one the three piece combo.
Trey,
You
you
know?
missed out the
So
most important thing. They asking you for a top up.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that too.
That's true,
But when
man.
I
The top up.
but but when I need air, I can't get no air for my tire.
Me too.
No, no. Things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed dramatically. So the basic thing what we have to do now, like you say, in this COVID-19 time, guys, the question is, how do you feel? Let's stray a little bit from banking a little bit. Carrington, how do you feel Junkanoo should go forward, seeing that we have this mass pandemic hanging over our head?
Honestly, right now, my thing, for me, first and foremost, safety is the most important thing, and protection. The social distancing right now. Granted that we seem to be almost free. I think we're down to just 4 cases now.
Yeah, I think it's
But
four
again,
active
we have to
cases.
be
Yeah, we got the
concerned.
four, but the prime minister closed us down by no beach, no boy this weekend. That was the question. Because if we don't do
So
that,
notice,
we'll have 100 next
um,
weekend.
and see this what persons fail to realize. They'll hop all over the prime minister for making that decision. But bear in mind now, we just opened back up um, the
International.
market now for the tourists to come back in, right? We had about how many flights came over? 2 flights. Now, the thing is that they tested negative. You never know what's going to happen in another 2 or 3 days, whether anything else is going to pop up. So for me, Junkanoo going forward, whilst I love it and I can't wait to rush,
Hey, no,
it's a
you
tricky
can't wait to
situation.
brag. Say the Saxons get two straight and be coming back down. Wait, that's what.
But
And
listen,
that's the talk. And that's talk, Gary.
every time I see Fred, I get to brag. So I up on him because he used to kill me last year.
Man,
I'm thinking we just have to be mindful and careful. But again, we have to look out for our safety, our welfare, and our family's welfare. We can't go there and get it all excited into Junkanoo at the expense of forcing our relatives to be affected. And so, unless we know it's totally COVID free, I'm one of the opinion that I could wait. I could wait. This thing has taught us that there's a lot of things we thought we couldn't do without. We can do without. And for Junkanoo, granted, it's one of our cultures and we need it. I love it. I would stay home. I certainly would. Now, if they say Junkanoo, believe you me, I could be there. We can't rush with masks. That's defeating the purpose. I mean, that's only causing persons to get sick. I won't even say go there with mask on the rush. That don't help. So we got to practice how we want to do this. Also for the fans, where they're going to be, because that's a crowd. You got to touch one another. And so the social distancing won't be there. And so you won't be able to manage nor control that. Because once that rhythm hits you, especially when that bass coming from the Saxons back line, you got to move. You got to. What you say, Fred?
Fred.
you
Swallow
said,
up, man.
you
Swallow up,
said,
Fred.
but I have to yield. I yield.
I was, I, I was about to say, Fred, that's the chump, so he can say whatever he wants to say.
When I go on this branch, I bow to him.
So Fred, speak to what the question what I just asked about how you feel.
I'll say this. You only get one life, and Corona could cost you your life. And I think that says it all. This isn't a. We have 130,000 Americans dead because of COVID-19 because they just didn't listen. And so we as Junkanooers, we have to take listen to the advice of the health people and be cognizant that this could cost you your life. The reality is, if there's not a vaccine, I can't see it being Junkanoo. And I've been doing Junkanoo. This is my 36th year. I love it. However, you don't get a second chance. You don't get up. You don't drop down there and then come back to life. That's it. So
Saxons do it. They was dead for 7 years and they come back to life. All right, that's my only one. I stop.
That's a low one, Trey, but I accept that.
That's low. Yeah, champ, you shouldn't accept that. But like I said, so I would say this. In our group, and we have to be mindful because even in our groups, the younger members advocating for rushes They want Junkanoo. And I commend my chairman, Christina Muffin Fernando, because she is steadfast and she's still on the principle, and I support her in this. We have to protect the lives of our membership, even if it seems unpopular. We have to protect the lives of our young people. While we may be a little more mature, our younger generations don't seem to get the message. And they still want to have the parties and they still want to do things without the social distancing because they only end having fun. But we have to understand that once we expose ourselves or anyone else, you can take that into the homes of your older parents, your older
Yeah.
relatives, or even the young kids. And so, Jonathan, we have to look at it as a whole. When we don't, I played trombone in one family brass. When we play in horn, that's a lot of saliva
Saliva. Yeah.
in the air. When we blow a whistle, when a person is blowing a whistle, you can watch the saliva coming out. That gotta go in there, but that gotta come down on somebody. When we rushing next to each other, we sweating, we flinging our arms, and that's sweat landing on someone. That's body fluids exchanging. That's a mass. That's a potential for a serious spread of the virus because I could infect someone today and they may not see symptoms until 9 to 14 days later. So, for the safety of our young people and our Bahama land, I do not support having a parade unless we have some vaccine that can guarantee the safety of our people. Because at the end of the day, if we make it to this, we'll have Junkanoo next year. And it's not denied, it's just delayed. So that's
Delayed.
my
That's
thing.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I agree with Fred wholeheartedly. He said it best. Take that time, that money you spend on your costume, save that.
Yeah.
Back the bank. See how we did it back the bank and save that. That 2,000. Some people spend 5,000 on your costume. Put that aside. So that's your
Agreed.
that's start your rainy day fun with that.
So Trey, you're gonna speak more to that or
No, I mean, like I said, I agree. I agree with Fred and about Carrington. I think we just need to just take our time with this one. I don't think we need to go out there and put lives in danger because, like Fred said, and that's one of the things I spoke with someone this week. With John Canoe, the whistle blowing. That saliva just all about the place. Horns, the same thing. You sweat and you come down with the elements. You sneeze, something getting, you sneezing. So there's so much things, and that's like just a pot of stew fish, right? That's just everything that's brewing right there. And all that heat. Yeah. So I don't think until we have some control of this, I think we need to take it slow and listen to the health authorities.
okay, but let me
And
share this with you guys. My friend came in the same week. He was stuck in my best friend. He was stuck in Fort Lauderdale. He was up in New York. But he came down way before the COVID came, so he was in West Palm Beach. And he came home on Sunday, and he said there were four lines to get through here. One line was for people who took the COVID exam, didn't get their results yet. One line was for the people who took the COVID results, got the results, came through. One line was for people who didn't take it at all. And I try and figure out how these people could fly in here and they never take the test.
remember,
Wow.
Shaman.
And one line was just
Remember,
walking
Shaman.
through. He said the airport was the
Remember,
best.
Shaman. Remember, Shaman. The Bahamas there has a policy that unless you take a COVID test and have negative, that they are not allowing people on the
So
flights.
only
But
so
we have
only
other
Bahamas Air.
Bahamas. That's their position. However, we have other airline carriers that fly in the Bahamas who have different policies, and it's difficult to deny a Bahamian access to their country.
Right.
It's the
You're right.
Bahamians. So the government is in a tough position, and we have to understand that because if this is home for me, I can't be forced to stay in Florida and live on the streets because my money might have been exhausted. So I got to come home where I could have sanctuary. However, I think the Ministry of Health is doing trying their best to quarantine those persons and check on them, and that's all we can hope for because at the end of the day, they still Bahamians if they're trying to
Yeah.
come home. And,
Yeah.
and, and this is home, we can't. It's difficult to force them to stay in another country because we're afraid. This is home. This is the only home they know. So it's
Yeah,
really
and
it's a tough spot.
there's a lot, and there's still a lot unknown. Every day things are changing. I just watched CNN yesterday, and they were talking about some scientists. I think like 250 something scientists signed this petition to get the World Health Organization to say this is airborne. And not just the mass,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
It is
actually airborne.
airborne.
So but it's that's not what we're told. People, they're scared to use that term airborne. And so we're still developing. And then another report said that people that are asymptomatic can't pass the disease. So there's so many unknowns. So we just might,
And,
I think we just should take the precaution and just you
uh,
know
and Trey, another point with the WHO, the World Health Organization, had they declared this a pandemic earlier, they
right.
could have, because it was a pandemic before they decided to declare it, and that's unfortunate. But they seem to be playing more politics than
Yeah,
really
yeah,
doing saying what it is. Because sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. And if it is airborne, the quicker you say it's airborne or you acknowledge it, then people can adjust whatever their protective
exactly.
measures to be against the disease. And if had the World Health Organization call it a pandemic from the onset when they realized it was and not play politics, it might have been better. Because we knew it was a pandemic. Everyone was calling it a pandemic except the World Health Organization. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's easy for us to really believe that it is airborne when you look at our next door neighbors, and you can see the spike inside the cases. They
Yeah.
averaging over 100,000. I mean, 40 to 50,000 a day. I mean, come on, it has to be some relevance to it is possibly airborne. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's very important for us to follow the advice of our experts, the medical field, who I think has done a pretty good job thus far and allowing the Bahamas to be in the condition we are now, where it's limited. And so we need to continue to follow their advice.
Yeah.
Well, I think this became airborne because of all the protests. I think that was happening over
Yes.
the George
Yes.
Floyd case. So I think that all of those protests caused it to get much higher.
That that coupled with the president of the United States almost forcing the country to open, although the medical advice is saying not to. They almost forced the opening of the trying to open the economy, and persons just went out, went to bars, went had parties again without social distancing, without masks. So that coupled with the the the,
But
with the
how
protests,
hard it is, Fred, to tell people you got to wear a mask? How hard is that?
you have Americans pushing back, Charmaine, saying, "This is my body. I have the right to do whatever I want."
Right.
And
The land of the free.
the fortunate thing for us in the Bahamas is that we are afraid of the COVID, and we are listening for the most part. So we're not really challenging the authorities. So you have people trying to wear masks. You have business establishments trying to make sure the persons come in and social distance and do what they have to do, and then that has helped tremendously. And I do support the closure of the beaches over the holiday. Unfortunately, I do support it because it will save more human lives, in my opinion.
But
Have you have a
Fred,
question?
when we go on the beach, man, we don't be up on each other. As be one family, one way. I'm just
That's
kidding. I
true.
was having to get you. I only Blair.
Mm, mm.
I always social distancing on the beach. Me and my family sit. We look for one spot with empty, and we sit there. We don't mess with nobody else.
But it isn't like I say, Trey. We understand, but we have our the younger generation, the generation Y. We have parties. We got social
Yeah,
gatherings. You look at
Yeah.
social media, you see the incident at the club the other day. I won't call the name because of, but all these where the people almost had a big party, no one in mask, everyone dancing upon each other, no social distancing. That is irresponsible behavior. But those are young adults. That
pure.
is
Just
unfortunate.
road, man, Fred. Just road.
Yeah,
Living my
not,
best life.
I know, but don't kill me with it. Don't kill
But
us with
hey,
it.
I bet, listen, either you be 3 feet apart or you be 6 feet
We
under. That's
six feet
simple.
under. I agree.
And
I
you're right,
fully agree.
Charmaine. That's it. Either you be 3 feet or 6 feet under, and then everybody gets upset when the PM goes and locks you back down. But again, you have to be responsible. You have to be responsible for yourself. I tell my son every time he goes, so buddy, you're still young. Don't get caught up with that. make sure you have your mask, exercise, social distancing. You know, we're so lax that we take everything for granted.
Yeah.
We're just our culture is everything's just for granted. We take everything for granted. So it doesn't matter to us. Like, oh, I could go and have a few beers with my boys. Ain't nobody get nothing. We can laugh and talk. Next thing you know, you got a case, somebody gone. So
Hey,
again, we have to be responsible.
CJ, I sure saw C could cure COVID, man.
Yeah,
You,
something.
hey, Trey, you gonna be the Cersei. I can tell you like some of my friends say, man, all you gotta do is go back to the ghetto. Say COVID don't come in the ghetto.
Yes.
COVID stay in
No,
the
So we got to get Robert.
Listen, Sergeant, I passed through the bottom. Man, nobody, they look at me strange because I masked down it. Nobody get on no mask.
Listen, man, just go in the ghetto and you okay. COVID ain't coming in the ghetto.
just road.
But you know the worst part about this COVID, man. The Saxons get 2 years to celebrate their two states. That's the worst thing to me. They get
Listen, man,
no,
why you reminding us of that?
they get 2 years. And I got to yield to them. And I give them their props because they're the champions. But I got 2 years to take this. I can't say none to Carrington.
But
And I
listen,
talk to him, but trust me, that's my friend.
you may have 3 years because we're not sure what's going to happen down in December. We're hoping for the best, you know. But hey, that gives me more time to deal with you a little bit more.
I know, right? I know, right?
Try this stuff and rub it in. Rub it in. Go ahead, Papa.
Listen,
Good evening once again, gents. This is a Junkanoo related question. I'm going to ask a finance question a little later. Do you think this layoff from Junkanoo will affect the participation in the parade in the future? Because, you know, once people step away from something for a while, they start to find something else to do. They find other voids and other initiatives to occupy their time. Do you think it's going to affect Junkanoo next year, next parade?
Not in the least. You could lay off with Junkanoo for 2 years, 3 years. That's something that's embedded in your soul. That's
Sure.
part of your culture.
Sure.
You can't help that. I'll give you an illustration. You know, there are some folks who are gung ho on being Christians and they don't go to Junkanoo. God bless my grandmother, bless her soul. One time, the Junkanoo passed through Camp Road where I grew up, and you know, when the music hit her, she had no other choice but to dance. So my point to you is this: that's something embedded in us. That's part of our culture. No matter the length of time the layoff is, once that kicks back in, you will get full participation. As a matter of fact, you will get more participation because everybody missed it. They can't wait for it to come, so everybody's going to come out from the woodwork. So I don't think that's going to affect it. That's just my opinion.
I fully agree with Carrington. I think that we're going to have the slingshot effect paparazzi in terms of because we miss it, people are going to be more energized. Now, we as entrepreneurs, we have to take this time also. We need to look at, and from the JCNB level, we have to look at the Junkanoo, the parade, itself, and maybe use this time off to look at ways and means to improve the product, to improve the parade, to improve revenue for the parades. And so if we still have a lot of work to do because when we have a parade, we still have the gaps, we still have the delays, we still have the system that is impaired, that we all acknowledge is impaired, but we can't seem to fix. So we as entrepreneurs have some stuff to work on about the craft too. So we have an opportunity to sit around the table and bring a better product to the Bahamian people if we work together. You know, so I think that the effect properly will be a positive effect, and we will not miss a beat because absence make the heart go fonder. And like Karen said, just three things. Just our culture. So
Uh, as a matter of fact, Papa, I'm actually of opposing view to those two gentlemen. I actually think that we will lose some people, a good much people, because some of the same reasons that Fred alluded to earlier. Because of the delay, some people still, just don't like the way Junkanoo functions, and so with this time now, I'm not involved in it. Then I realized that hey, sometimes there's something else I can get involved with. I can use my time with because Junkanoo is actually very time consuming. So I think on the flip side, some people may start business ventures. So they may be interested in certain things like that. And now you have this time. Junkanoo takes most of us who are very instrumentally in the shack from June, from Labor Day season start, you in the shack until December, January, till January 1. So I think if we do not continue to have people engaged, so doing things regularly, we can't be out having Junkanoo rushes, but if we are not engaging our stuff, our fans or our groups, people in the group, I think we will lose some people during this time.
Interesting. My second question is relating to something similar to what Fred was saying, creating the finance in Junkanoo. We all know the numbers and the problems we have with getting adequate funds for the work we put into Junkanoo. For example, most groups would spend anywhere from $5,000 maybe $10,000 on a banner, but the prize money isn't even $1,000. How can we generate more funds for Junkanooers, or is this always going to be an event that we just have to be a matter of the heart and we just say, oh, we love it, and we could just spend $1,000 on a costume just to come down Bay Street? Or is there a way we could turn it around and actually sell costumes or something with the parade to actually create revenue, similar to like what Brazil did with Carnival, or what Trinidad does with Carnival, or what the Bahamas does with Carnival? I hate to use Carnival reference, but they're making money.
No, but it's the right reference, and I think what happened with Carnival had an initial boost. So when you went to London or when you went anywhere else, you saw billboards of Carnival. We injected a lot of money advertising Carnival. I don't think we have that same thing with Junkanoo. Why can't we have a ABC broadcasting Junkanoo? Why you can't have that international ad paying for like our Super Bowl? You have a slot. They pay millions of dollars to run their ad during. Why can't we brand or sell Junkanoo like that? I think those are the opportunities that we need to be looking at. We need to stop thinking about just here, and try to market this thing like we would do with a carnival. How tourists coming in, or whoever who wants to participate in a parade could buy a costume. I think that Junkanoo is very clannish and we're tribal, and so the competition of it kills it a lot. So if I'm not a part of your group, I may be interested in a particular group. Let's say Genesis, right? And I might want to come in and just to dance or be but because we going out to win, or but this person ain't right, you can't line up, or you can't do this, or you can't, so there's so many restrictions because we're so caught up on the competition aspect of it. And so I think that's one of the things that hurts us as Junkanooers because of this whole tribal thing. I think if we could come together, financial means it'd be easy to find out once we come together. I think and monetize this thing.
Trey, I think you hit it right on the head. I don't need to add anything to that because that is part of the problem. Because of the competition, everybody just tearing at each other's throats. So persons who want to become involved, they seem to step back. I've even had that problem before I really got entrenched because, as Fred knows, I just used to be a sideliner. I never really used to carry costume because of the same issue. Not until Michael Lang, Pastry, and Dougie actually sat and talked to me and said, man, because my son was interested and I wasn't going to bring him in because of the same thing that you're now alluding to. But after they said, come on, man, let's get involved and let's try to change and be the change. And so I think that's where we need to start from, where we're being the change and allowing it to open up to all walks of life and being able to cater to the market that's going to be able to help us.
Well, I would say this way. You are absolutely correct, but as much as I love the statements of Junkanoo, I think that our forefathers and some of the Junkanoo legends have done us a disservice. And why? They taught us only to want to win on Bay Street. They never said, let's see how we could make this profitable for all. And it's unfortunate, but even today, when we sit around the table, we still only concerned with winning on Bay Street and not about winning in the communities and winning in the pockets. We haven't put a product. We haven't put a product out there. Let's be honest. We haven't put a product out there worthy of being paid for. To be honest, Junior Junkanoo get it right. Journey Junkanoo go down Bay Street, the groups line up one behind the other. There's no gaps. They said at the end of the parade, they call the parade, and there's no argument. We, the adult parade, whenever we go down, it's an hour between
Nah.
groups. People pay more to see us. There's an hour between groups, and whenever the prize call, there's always some protest, who cheats someone on the news, and then there's a review and everything else. So maybe we have to look at the product. When and we have a product that needs help. It's a great product.
Right.
It needs to be refined and to where we could put monies in pockets. But the only way, Paparazzi, to your point, that we would get this done is by holding hands together as Junkanooers, leaving the tribalism out, stop trying to win on Bay Street, let's let Junkanoo win. But we will have to do that together. We have to hold our hands and say, how do we create revenue sharing opportunities so that all the groups that would benefit? How do we plan an event that everyone can get involved in? How, not just, oh, I can put the Valley Boys on TV, or the rest of y'all don't worry about that. We're the Valley. This is how we get to be on TV because we're the best. And that's the problem. Or how do we get one family? We only concern about us, and we don't look at it. You know what? I have an opportunity to put Junkanoo on TV. Let's see how we hold hands and create an opportunity for Junkanoo. And if we put Junkanoo first, with revenue share and plan to work together, then we can improve the product and there can be revenue. We can make money from Junkanoo because it could be to the point where if we take it seriously, put it in the craft, teach it, embed it in our young from primary school. You teach them the craft, and you could even make it a trade. Have Junkanoo tradesmen teach our younger artists how to be the Junkanoo dolls. Everything in the store market come from China. Why can't we have the young behemoths learning how to do those Junkanoo dolls and create a market to export them and take Junkanoo to the world and that way? So there's a lot of opportunities, but unless we pull together as Junkanooers, it will not happen.
But Fred, the model is that we have the model, you know. They've been alluding to this 12 days of Junkanoo or Christmas for years, right? They've been talking about this thing. Administration come, administration go. We always talking about, oh, they could do it this year or whatever else, right? Even carnival model, right? Right? We could have a festival leading up to Junkanoo, and we actually can split have two parades, one for the competition and one just a fun parade. We've been talking about this stuff for years.
You know,
New Year's Day could be a fun parade. Let's just go there, have fun, everybody, whatever else. They sell costumes, dance up in the road, do whatever. Boxing Day could be the big parade. We've been talking about this stuff. We can have cultural shows, music. You have a Junkanoo song competition. You can do all this stuff. We have the model here. We just need the testicular fortitude to get it done.
That's the key word.
Yeah.
I was going to say you need somebody with some kahunas.
Yeah, but the reality is though, and I would say this, I think that to try and have that parade when we are so used to what we do in December, I think you plan all of that, take it to push that 12 days of Christmas aside, do a summer festival as a model, because we do nothing in the summer. And
Agreed.
And use the summer festival as an opportunity to sell the costumes and revenue share. And if you have a model that's effective, because reality to tell the fella, then some group starts in the shop in April, that in December he now get to stop his parade when he done in beast mode to win, to go talk about 12 days of Christmas, you only get that. See,
Fred,
no.
But Fred, we go right back to winning again. We talking about take the winning out of the equation.
What I'm saying to you is, you try the festival in the summer, because if we plan for the festival in the summer, January 1, you could start planning for the festival and taking a carnival approach if you want to. As opposed to trying, if you gotta try to have the festival, it don't have to be a 12 days of Christmas. It could be anything we call it, and with the same model, and just put it at a time that we can use that can work. Then we have a lot of tourists, a lot of travelers. Why can't a tourist decide that he won't come and be a part of the Summer Junkanoo Festival and rush with the Saxons, all one family? And we make a costume for them when they come, they purchase it online and come and be a part of our summer festival.
We already have that model as well. The Junkanoo Summer Festival is already there. It's just a matter of Junkanooers telling the ministry of whoever's in charge that this is what we want to do, as opposed to them telling y'all what they want you to do.
Exactly.
They call it Junkanoo Summer Festival, but the only thing y'all do is rushing at the tail end, and y'all just a closer for the event.
Yeah, but
You're not the
because
highlight of the event.
You know why, paparazzi? As Junkanoo, we do this.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
Until we stop begging and decide to either invest some time and effort to make some money, then we always have to take whatever they give us.
You know, it's just like what you guys said earlier, but the ASU is a part of Bahamian culture. Well, that's a part of Bahamian culture. Let me ask another question about creating revenue. We have these wonderful studios all over the country, shacks that we use,
studios
that we use, as you guys say, June through December, correct? It means January through May, that studio or that wonderful waking space is doing absolutely nothing. I've recently heard, or I remember the minister or the past minister or someone ministry saying that they wanted to turn those into community centers. But I want to encourage, or I want to push one for each one of the Junkanoo groups to think about this. You have a waking museum from June through December. What that means is you could invite tourists to come into your shack, into your shack and see what you're doing, because we're so secretive, and you could charge them a fee to come and see what Junkanoo is made of and how it's created, June through December. And guess what happened after that? From January through May, you have a museum with your pieces, which you actually had on the parade in December and January.
Definitely.
And that way you could create a revenue stream for the group or that particular studio or shack. And second of all, it gives employment to some members of your group who may not be employed or employable at that time. That's just my suggestion. Now it's going to require some work. Now most shacks don't have a bathroom.
Right.
Paparazzi, that thing has been in motion from almost 4 to 5 years. They talked about that over and repeatedly. Again, it boils down to people being selfish. It's all about them and not about us. And so until somebody has the cojones to make the decision, to take the initiative, to enforce it or implement it, we're going to be sitting here talking about this until the cows come home. So I'm thinking that somebody has to take initiative and have the cojones to implement this and make sure this thing go into fruition. Because truth be told, they talk about the museum. I think the setup was supposed to be out there by the cruise ship, by the dock. That gone down the drain. Initially they had 1 or 2 costumes in there. Then next thing it phased out. So you need consistency. You can't just do it for 1 year and then stop. So that's what you're talking about. That's ideal. You just need somebody to man it, implement it, enforce it, and continue to follow through.
Yeah, but I'm guaranteed. I think he mean from the group aspect, not even involving the government. You know, the group from the group aspect. This is something that we should be pushing ourselves. I think one of the issues we've had this discussion in Genesis, but one of the issues is the land. You know, during the time that you're talking about with the shacks, a lot of us don't own these shacks. You see what I'm saying? And so that's one of the major issues. So now where we like to push for the government where is to give this crown land that they've been talking about for shack or for so we can put up a studio and we can do something like this, you know. But and like you said, a paparazzi, a lot of these places don't have proper bathrooms and facilities. So I can't really invite a tourist in here or have a tour going on throughout the day or whatever else when the place isn't kept clean or we don't have facilities for you to go to the bathrooms and you know stuff like that. So we've had that discussion. We're actually still having that discussion. One of the things that's hindering is ownership of these buildings. You know, some of the landlords or whatever else don't want certain things happening in their spot. So until we own, you know, the land, you know, I think we're gonna have some pushback with that.
So again, and I keep saying this, and I don't know if I say this enough. Until we hold hands and go to the government as a unified front,
I
for the
agree.
sake of Junkanoo, for the sake of Junkanoo, and say, you know what, this is what we want, and stop saying this is what my group want. This is what we want for Junkanoo, and let's leave the competition out of it. Let's look forward as a Junkanoo. We should want to set the standard for the next generation to come, and let our legacy be that we have made it better. But unfortunately, unless we have leadership in the groups that see that together we stronger, we will be saying it and waiting for someone else to do it
You do
for the
it
next
exactly.
10, 15 years. But
Right.
what can we have to look at it is our culture too. We have a part to play. We have to push our leadership. We have to advocate persons who are respected within our relative groups. We don't have to be the leader. Every group has a cadre of leadership, of leaders that can advise. We have to be the ones saying, let the Saxons do this. Let's one family do this. Let Roots do this. And let's work together. And eventually the powers that we will say we have to decide there's a push to work together and we can be stronger if we unified. But until we decide to have a mature approach to how we can do this, we will always have the tribalism. We'll always only be trying to get to Bay Street and not trying to get Junkanoo to the rest of the world. And we might not like some of the things, but and I gotta give Chris Stevens props. He saw Junkanoo as a marketable product years ago, and he ventured to take it to his group and take them to the world. And it's so sad that one group is saying it, but the other groups don't see. Bay Street is only one component of colors, but the concept works for everyone. But we have to be unified, and
Right.
that's just the way it is.
Okay, gentlemen, it's been a long, long night. We have to wrap up. I got some things I got to do. So I would like to thank all of you who took some time out of your busy schedule to come on and give us some topic of finance and again to remind the public that we are on our countdown to Independence Day. We on 3 days tomorrow, and so on Friday we will have the Unified Parade done by the choreographed dancers. They call themselves the Unified Dancers, beginning at 10 here on FIE's Junkanoo Rush, and then we'll conclude at 5 at the stadium. So Carrington, Trey, and Fred, we thank you so much. Papa, you have any final words? We got to wrap up. Okay, folks, so everybody be safe and have a safe independence and make sure tune into us. FIE's Junkanoo Rush. Feel it in your
Yep,
belly. Thank you,
LA.
gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you
Well,
very much,
more
Papa
health
T.
to
Have
the
a good
world.
Good
evening,
night.
all.
All
Good
righty.
night.
That's
Bye.
nice. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Good night. All right.